New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
For tonight's show, put an extra log on the fire. It's going to be a good one this evening. Well, hello there. Good evening to everyone around the world from the United States of America. It is time once again for another fun-filled throw-packed and yes, always guaranteed a good time edition of the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am the Reverend Michael Mangus, broadcasting from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts, in an extremely secure concrete bunker, somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret that only one person, and that is Diego Reyes, only he knows where the top secret bunker is located. No one else, including our guest this evening, the Reverend Jeff Radcliff, they have no clue on where the top secret bunker is located, and we are going to keep it that way. I think after tonight's show, it's best to keep the top secret bunker quiet after tonight's show. It's a good one tonight. We do have a great show for you here, and if you would like, we'd love you to interact with us. And you can do so by giving us a comment here on Facebook or YouTube. We are live this evening, so we would love your interaction. And for all my shy people out there, I know you're out there. You don't want to put anything in the comment. Okay, that's fine. Send me an email, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. So the purpose of our Fireside Chat here each and every week is to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought perspective. And as I keep saying over and over again, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on all around us and how we can play a part in making the world a place that works for all. And the views and opinions expressed here are those of my own and my guest and do not reflect the views and opinions of the New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, Divine Science International, or anyone else. Take what you like and leave the rest. Well, our special guest again this week, who I think has a secret plot of getting me thrown off the air, all the way from Tennessee. I read some of your script earlier, Reverend Jeff Radcliff. And you know what? I want you to read it on the air.
Okay, I can do that. And,
okay.
And then if Reverend Dr. Robert decides that Friday night Fireside Chat has run its course, I will take responsibility.
You know what? I put it on his Facebook page this evening just to see if he noticed.
Oh, okay. Well,
So.
I got to say, before we go any farther,
Okay.
I was guest speaker at your church, Summit Spiritual Center, this past Sunday.
Yes.
And it was a blast. I had a good time. And I really enjoyed the music. You guys get some awesome musicians in there. I was really impressed. But tonight, I wanted to show you what I'm drinking. Can you see that?
Yes.
It says, well, the light's on it. It says
Yeah.
Summit. It's a Diet Cola, but it says Summit. And I was like, oh, well, this is taking me back to Sunday. I got it at that little German grocer that most people turn up their nose at because it doesn't have a big variety of things, but the prices are really low.
We can say the name. It's Aldi.
Oh, okay. We can say the name? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, got it from Aldi. So there you go. It's good stuff.
Hold on here. Let's see who's here. Uh-oh, she's watching us tonight.
I know. I saw that.
You know what? Both of us could be in big trouble after this evening. She
Yeah.
can report us both to home office.
Well, thank you for at least including me in your disclaimer because, yeah, you're right. I do not represent Science Federation International. I'm just me. So, of course,
Well, you know what? We could not have a show if it wasn't for this person all the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It is Wayne Baldwin. Hey, good to have everyone with us this evening. All right, do we have to do the news?
Might as well. Although I will tell you, the last thing that you sent me on the notes today,
Yeah.
I think we deserve to just use that as one single hour just to talk. Think about that.
Okay. Well, maybe we can do that next week.
Yeah, well,
Or we could start this week.
whatever.
All right. All right. Here is the news. Well, alarm bells are ringing among top Democrats over the 2024 race after President Joe Biden's debate performance left some to openly question whether he should remain the party's nominee. Biden struggled to articulate at points, while former President Donald Trump went on the offensive and steamrolled and told a whole bunch of lies, often with abject falsehoods. No, they were just outright lies. The candidates sparred over the economy, immigration, foreign policy, and more, but Biden missed several opportunities to fact-check Trump and counter him on issues like abortion, where Democrats have an edge among voters. The Trump campaign declared victory, while Biden's team brushed off concerns. Vice President Kamala Harris admitted that Biden had a slow start. No, Kamala, it was not a slow start. It was awful. But he urged Americans to focus on his accomplishments. According to a CNN flash poll, 67% of debate watchers said that Trump turned in a better performance, even though he lied, compared to 33% for Joe Biden. So did you watch the debate last night?
I watched it, and I watched a little bit of the different analyses that came along after this. I think that people are, and this is my personal opinion, this is me only. I saw the video that Joe Biden released when he was in North Carolina this afternoon.
Okay.
And he was on fire. That was the Joe Biden I was hoping to see last night, but didn't. This guy he still sounded kind of his voice was hoarse. And he, last night, I seriously do believe, what they said, that maybe he's got a cold, and it's quite possible that he had taken some cold medicine, and not early enough in the day for it to have worn off, because I think something was up with him. I think that Donald Trump was right. He deflected. He's been deflecting for weeks about how we're going to need to test Joe Biden for drugs before he gets out there, because he's going to be as hopped up on something as he was at the State of the Union address. Well, guess what? If Joe was hopped up on something, it was downers. Okay. It was Black Beauties or whatever it is. Trump, on the other hand, came out, guns a-blazing, and he was definitely on something. But he spent so much time with lies and whatnot, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on with him.
Well, he told one lie.
More than
one. Yeah, well, the one about, I never slept with a porn star.
No, he didn't. So why are we paying hush money to somebody that you didn't do the hibbity-dibbity with, Explain that one to me. He has yet to explain that one. What I found was interesting, they were talking about the child care for working parents.
Absolutely.
And they asked him about it, and he didn't answer the question. I mean, Biden tried to. I mean, Biden at least did eventually work in the words child care.
Yes.
Trump did not. It was more of his Trump rally stuff. And trying to belittle Joe Biden. I was texting off and on with a friend of mine who lives in Canada, not Wayne, but somebody else. And,
okay.
And she said that Biden was being steamrolled, and I said, yeah. And she said it was like watching the school bully beat up the class nerd. And you know what? That's a pretty good way to put it.
I think that first of all, is that, yes, there was something going on. He looked old last night.
Yeah, when he shuffled out. When he didn't walk out, he shuffled out.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this is not going to be pretty.
Well, the other thing, too, is, and you can tell your Canadian friend, and we'll also tell Wayne, is that we have a very strong right-wing radio media here in this country, with such people as Sean Hannity and others. Mm-hmm. Oh, they had a field day today.
Yeah,
I mean, they were up and down. Yeah, Trump did this, Trump did that, Trump was excellent, and so on and so forth. And Trump lied the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you see how he deflected about the fair election? If there was a fair election, that would there be a peaceful power?
Oh yeah.
Boy, I'll tell you. You know what? Again, if you read between the lines here, this is not setting up to be a very pretty end of the year, beginning of 2025.
Did you happen? I saw my other Canadian friend sent me a meme that was released by Occupy Democrats.
Okay.
About Mark Hamill, the Star Wars actor, Mark Hamill.
Yes.
His response to the presidential debate. Oh, he took the gloves off with that. Because he said one off night doesn't change the fact that Joe Biden is the most legislatively successful president in our lifetime. One off night also doesn't change the fact that the former guy is a convicted felon, serial liar, and adjudicated rapist who is unfit for any office, period.
So my question is, because of Trump's sordid past, why is he the savior of the evangelical Christians?
Thank you. Let me respond with this, because I also caught the little video snippet of The View. I don't watch The View. It's just not my thing. But one of the women on there, and I can't remember which one it was, she said that it was ironic. She said, why is it only the Democratic Party? Why are they the only ones talking about replacing their nominee? She said, it's ironic that the Republicans aren't holding Trump accountable for being the guy that he is.
Right.
And, twice impeached, 4 times indicted business fraud, convicted felon who has numerous charges still pending against him. He's an adjudicated sexual assaulter. He's our failed former president. Why are they floating him as a candidate? While the Democrats, Joe Biden does, he had an awful night last night, but that's not to say that his entire presidential campaign should be torpedoed. I was thinking earlier, which kind of disaster this was, because it was disastrous. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. The fact was, it was disastrous. But was it Hurricane Katrina disastrous, or was it Titanic disastrous? I mean, because with Hurricane Katrina, we were able to build back. We brought everything back from the brink. Couldn't do that with Titanic. So my question is, everybody, is acting like this was Joe Biden's Titanic moment. Even the liberal New York Times, just a little over 2 hours ago, put out an opinion piece, the title of which said, "To serve his country, President Biden should leave the race." Well, I'm sorry, I'm not willing to give up on him quite this early. I'm not. And
so who are they going to replace him with, though?
Pete Buttigieg. If you're going to replace him with Pete Buttigieg. I think he's got the less amount of baggage that some of the other ones. Somebody in the one of the opinion pieces that I saw floated. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. What's his name? Dude from California that everybody hates, Newsom. Floated him and AOC as a running mate, and I'm like, no. Right now, Gavin Newsom has got a target on him, and there is no way. And AOC, I love Miss Cortez, but she's got too much. She swings too far to the left for most people, and I think that would be a surefire way to get Donald Trump reelected.
Well, I think also, again, is America ready for its first openly gay president in Pete Buttigieg?
We had our first openly black president a little while ago. We almost had our first openly female president. I think more people are comfortable with gay people these days than they are, or than they were. Granted, the ones who are not are very vocal, but we can't let vocal naysayers, have the complete floor on this.
Right. Personally, I continue to not worry, but continue to pray for our wonderful country, for right leadership, for peace, for divine right order, and also right action. And I just, again, to see beyond the appearances. Yes, I was quite troubled last night, and I had to kind of get myself back to principles here, and just know that somehow or another that this is working out for good.
It is. Here's the great thing. I've been reading. Oh my goodness, what is the name of the book I've been reading? Discover Your Divinity, by. Well, she's actually a friend of mine. I've been friends with her for years. Linda Martello Whitsett.
Oh yes,
who is an awesome unity minister.
I met her at the Parliament of World Religions.
Mm-hmm.
She came by, and I said, "You look familiar." And then I saw her name set, your name tag, and I said, "Oh," I said, "Hello, I love your books." And she says, "Oh," I said, "Would you love to be on my? Would you like to be on my program sometime?" She says, "Of course I would." So anyhow, go ahead.
She's awesome. And she said something in the section on divine identity, which I really resonated with. And it's just a short chapter. I'm going to read it right now. It says, "You may have heard that humans are related to God like a drop of water is to the ocean. You are not a drop of water in the ocean. You can pluck a drop of water from the ocean and it can exist separately from the ocean. You cannot pluck a wave out of the ocean. The wave is the action of the ocean. You are the ocean in motion. All that the ocean is, you are." So when we talk about things being in divine right order, we have to realize that what's making this in divine right order is spirit expressing through us, expressing as us, because spirit is us.
Yes.
And oh geez, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He said divine science minister. I'm embarrassed, but he said that we live and move and have our being in God. God lives, moves, and has its expression in us.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to divine right order, we are the arbiters of that.
If you've wondered what you stumbled onto this evening, so have we. This is the Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network with Reverend Michael and also Reverend Jeff Radcliff. I have been waiting all day for this next story.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Yes. All Oklahoma schools, every single darn one of them, are required to incorporate the Bible and the 10 Commandments in their curriculum effective immediately, the state's top education official announced in a memorandum on Thursday. He said that the Bible is a necessary historical document to teach our kids about the history of this country, to have a complete understanding of Western civilization, and to have an understanding of the basis of our legal system. Here he is, a picture of him to be put in places to scare the rats away.
He pulled his head out of wherever it was he had it stuffed in order to pose for that picture, because that is just some of the most ludicrous stuff I've ever heard in my life.
Okay. Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Ryan Walters, said the memo followed a law enacted in Louisiana last week that required all public classrooms to display the 10 Commandments. And a group of Louisiana parents and civil rights organizations is suing the state over the new law, saying that it violates both the Supreme Court precedent and also the First Amendment. Reverend Jeff, earlier in the day, you went ahead and you said you volunteered, you wrote a letter to Public Instruction Superintendent Ryan Walters.
Well,
and you told him, and you said in that letter that because that you are a God-fearing and moral individual, that you would write the new curriculum. Reverend Jeff, could you please share with us your curriculum that would be taught in all Oklahoma schools?
God-fearing, scared to death. What I put in an open post was basically, I wonder if Superintendent Dude gets the total ramifications of what he's done. Will they be teaching Old Testament classes? Well, let's see. There's the story in Genesis 9 of how Noah got drunk and was lying around naked in all his glory. Oh, and then in Genesis 19, Lot's daughters got him drunk and had their wicked womanly ways with him.
Are you kidding?
I am not kidding. It's in there, baby. It's in there.
Okay, go on.
Don't forget the love between Jonathan and David. 2 Samuel says that that surpassed the love of women. Well, and it is still Pride Month, so there's that. 2 Samuel also tells us about how David and Bathsheba were hid in the sheets, not to mention the fact that David had Bath's husband killed.
Yes.
Murder. I mean, yikes. 1 Kings has the story of David's son Solomon, who was supposed to be the wisest man in the world. So very wise.
Okay.
You know what his wisdom? He was surrounded with women, 700 wives and 300 concubines, to be exact.
Only 1,000 women. Okay, go ahead.
Only 1,000 women, but yet marriage is only between one man and one woman. Okay.
Okay.
Then here's my favorite part, because this is the one that everybody knows the scripture because they've heard part of this scripture, but most people don't know the entire story.
Okay.
Which in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 23, there were two sisters, Aholah and Aholabah. They were lusty, dusty prostitutes in the wonderful kingdom of Egypt. Yes.
No.
And Aholabah was so lusty and so nasty that she lusted after lovers whose man parts were as large as donkeys and whose admissions were like those of a horse. That's the part of that scripture that everybody knows. They just don't know the backstory of it. So once parents get an earful of what little Billy and little Susie are going to be learning in Old Testament Bible class in those in the public schools.
Yeah. How about the Song of Solomon?
It's not going to be pretty, and the mandate to teach the Bible in Oklahoma schools is going to be very short-lived. Because can you imagine the hashtag on this thing? The Bible, soft cover, hardcore. It boggles the mind.
How about the Song of Solomon?
Somebody brought that up to me, the Song of Solomon. Yeah.
There are parts of that, that I've been asked to read at weddings, and
it's hot stuff.
I have said no, thank you. I said, if you have someone else read it, that's fine, but I'm not gonna read that, because that's a little too on the erotic side.
And some of it though is not so much erotic as it's just explicit with Americans, especially Europeans too, because Europeans are not as Bible centered as us. They're more secular in their culture. But Americans who claim to be Christian and claim to have knowledge of the Bible will read some of the stuff that they see in there and try to interpret it, or literally. You cannot do that. This was written by people a couple thousand years ago. When it comes to the Old Testament, we're talking about a nomadic Semitic tribe.
Yes.
We're separated by 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 miles, as well as 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years. You cannot say that everything in the Old Testament pertains to us, because guess what? Society has moved ahead through the course of time. And when it comes to the New Testament, well, first of all, most of the New Testament was written by people who didn't even know Jesus in the first place. Paul never met him. All Paul did was have some sort of a divine vision. And the next thing you know, this whole religion has grown up, not around Jesus and what Jesus taught, but what Paul taught. And what people who didn't even know Jesus taught. Jesus taught one thing, which is the Father and I are one.
Yes.
That's mysticism. That's basically it. Knowing that you and God are one. And he also said, love your neighbor as yourself and love God, because those are the two great commandments. They supersede everything else, he said. After that, it's all commentary written by people who didn't know their you-know-what from a you-know-where.
Hey, one more thing before we go to break here. This is
Okay.
the solution to the 10 Commandments. Hindus seek display of Gita verses along with 10 Commandments in Louisiana schools.
Well, yeah,
Hold it.
I'm loving this.
I'll just read some of the story. It says Hindus feel that it is fine to display the 10 Commandments in Louisiana public schools as long as the posters carry a verse from the ancient Sanskrit scriptures from the Gita. The Song of the Lord are also displayed. A Hindu statesman in a statement from Nevada today says that the Gita was a historically significant document. Well, that's the reason why they're putting up the 10 Commandments, right?
Right.
Okay. Recognized throughout the world, true, and was a treasure that should be displayed in public school classrooms in Louisiana in the form of posters carrying its verses. This sacred text was plainly the word of God spoken by Lord Krishna himself. Now, okay, the Hindu community would cover all the costs of creating printed mounting. They probably even pay for the frames, okay?
Oh, no doubt.
In these easily readable posters. And no funding from the state or public school districts or schools would be required. And this is from the spokesperson who is the president of the Universal Society of Hinduism, indicated.
You know what's funny about the Louisiana ruling on posting this the 10 Commandments in the classroom?
Okay.
Part of what they said was that it had to be in legible script big enough to be read. And I saw online, and I wish that I was able to show you my screen, but I saw a meme where somebody had posted the 10 Commandments. They looked like the two stone tablets that Moses brought down off the mountain, and it was in Hebrew script.
I think that would be great.
That would fulfill the letter of the law, because there's nothing there that says that it has to be in English.
I'll tell you.
Wait until the Church of Satan gets involved in this, because people are going to lose their ever-loving minds over that.
What are they going to put in there? Are they going to put?
Oh yeah, they're going to want to. If you've ever read their statements of
go ahead,
in their, they're very loving and very humanistic. They believe that people are innately good. They don't need to be God-fearing, to be good people. You don't have to adhere to scriptures in order to do that. That people are inherently good, and they just want everybody to know that.
That's right.
The fact that and they don't worship Satan because they don't actually believe in Satan as a personage so much as just that state of being that we look at when it comes to heaven and hell. That this is just that inner part of us. It's a little bit hedonistic, because everybody's looking for a ease and a good time, and they want
right
like that. That's all that they're about. But people see Satan and they've been brainwashed by the Christian cult. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. We're going to do a few announcements, and then we'll be right back with the Reverend Jeff Radcliff. So Jeff, go get a sandwich. Go pat Lily.
She's around here somewhere.
She's around, and we'll be right back. Hold on here. Jeff's safely in the green room. Well, anyhow, hi there. If you wonder what you tuned into this evening, this is Friday evening's Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. Oh, I'll tell you something. We still got some wonderful stories to go over, but I wanted to tell you about the place that I am currently parking myself on Sundays, and that is Summit Center for Spiritual Living. For more info, go to summitcsl.org. As you said, as you heard, Jeff said that our music is absolutely wonderful on Sundays. And we have, I believe, one of the best services, not only online, but also in New Thought. So you'll find us, again, if you go to summitcsl.org, you'll get more information there. We gather online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso. Please join us. We do have a great, great service. All right. And guess who is the speaker this Sunday? It is our fearless spiritual leader who's watching this evening and taking notes for home office, practitioner Diana Mangus. So again, go to summitcsl.org for more information. All right. We're going to take a quick, and I mean quick break, and then we will be right back. You're watching the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
Already I've been corrected by the spiritual leader of Summit CSL already. Because she has told me, no, she is not the speaker this Sunday.
Ooh.
It is our music minister, John Miller, who has two, not one, but two seminary degrees and is the smartest and the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Very cool.
Okay. Yes, he is our speaker this Sunday. Thank you, Diana, for correcting me, because she does that.
Well, you know what? It makes sense because it is still technically. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong daggone calendar page. Oh my goodness! No wonder I'm messed up today. It is still Pride Month on Sunday, and it is still the Guy Month. So
right.
It only makes sense that it would be, somebody else other than her.
John's a really good speaker. You'll really enjoy him on Sunday. Just go to summitcsl.org and join us online. All right. Do you want to talk about the Supreme Court?
Well, first of all, let me say I went back and looked. It was Reverend Dr. Vernon Shields who said that God lives, moves, and finds expression through us. So that's who that was. The Supreme Court. Okay.
Since you're forcing me.
Yeah. There's a spiritual way to look at all of this.
Well, today they
make it difficult.
They are wrapping up their term, and they still have some major decisions to come out on Monday.
Yeah.
But the Supreme Court ruling on January 6th obstruction charges, today's ruling is that the Supreme Court has ruled that the Justice Department overstepped by charging hundreds of people who rioted at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, with obstruction in a decision that could force prosecutors to reopen at least some of the cases. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the opinion for a 6-3 majority, and a former Pennsylvania police officer who rioted at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th challenged the federal obstruction charges filed against him. Prosecutors say that the charge should apply to the January 6th case because the plain meaning of the word obstruct, an official proceeding, covers the attack. And some 350 rioters were charged with crime, which can add up to 20 years in prison. So there are some possible implications for number 45 for Donald Trump. This decision could also affect the case against the former president, who was charged with violating the same obstruction law for different reasons. Trump is also facing 4 federal criminal cases while running again for president.
And it's interesting that you bring up the implications for Trump, because I've also heard that even though they may not be able to use this particular ruling for obstruction with these other people, given holistically the fact that he practically invited people to march on the Capitol building, said, "Oh, you got to come out. It's going to be wild." He played a bigger role in this than just showing up. And so it's quite possible that these obstruction charges, this obstruction law against him can stick. So I've read it both ways. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
So how do you think the Supreme Court's going to rule on Monday on the immunity case that Trump says, because he was in office, that he should be immune from all charges?
I don't think they're going to give him total immunity. I think that they're probably going to split in some way, the decision on this thing. I don't think they're going to give him total immunity. He's going to end up having to be held accountable for some things. And I think they will use that. And I think that the law plainly shows that. So we'll wait and we'll see.
Well, also the Supreme Court this past week, in a surprise decision, allows emergency abortions in Idaho. The Supreme Court formally dismissed an appeal over Iowa's strict abortion ban on Thursday, blocking enforcement of the state's law a day after the opinion was posted by accident on the court's website, in an astonishing departure from its highly controlled protocols, which means somebody got fired.
Yeah.
At issue in the case was a state law that banned abortions except for the life of the pregnant woman. The Biden administration argued that a federal law required hospitals to also provide abortions in the case where the health of the pregnant woman is at stake. The unsigned opinion drew a flurry of concurrences from conservative and liberal judges who formed an unusual alliance to dismiss the case and temporarily blocked enforcement of Idaho's strict ban. Though the decision was technically a loss for Idaho, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson stressed in a partial dissent that the potential impact is likely to be short-lived. She wrote that today's decision is not a victory for pregnant patients in Idaho, it is delay. And the decision sweeps abortion off of the Supreme Court docket, at least for right now, in the middle of a highly contested presidential election, even though that the issue is almost certainly to return to the justices. Earlier this month, the court dispensed with another abortion case, an appeal challenging to expanded access to the abortion pill. And there was, what now?
Mifepristone. You had trouble.
Yes, thank you. Are you pronouncing it right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And there was a unanimous court that held that the anti-abortion doctors and groups who sued did not have a standing.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments on that?
I know that there are a lot of people out there who are saying, well, why did they rule the way that they did? Why didn't they just cover everything all at once? Well, the Supreme Court doesn't do that. At least this particular court does not do that. And I don't think they're really supposed to. They are supposed to settle the question that is being brought before them. They are not to rule outside of that. Then, a few years ago, we had mostly people on the right side of the aisle talking about activist judges who were legislating from the bench. Well, this Supreme Court is they're being very diligent in making sure that they're only answering the questions that are being asked of them, and just deciding it on a federal level and sending some of this stuff back to the state level. So, for this particular issue, though, I think they did the right thing. Most women don't know that they're pregnant at 6 weeks.
Absolutely not.
So for them to put a 6-week ban is just ludicrous. And Donald Trump brought this up last night during the debate. He's talking about third trimester pregnancies, in the 9th month, and even the dude in Virginia who said that, we'll even wait till the baby's born, and then, which is basically murder. And there's nobody doing that.
No.
And it's like, what, 1%, I think, of abortions are done that late, and it's always for a medical reason.
Absolutely.
I cannot think of any woman who is willing to go through all the changes her body is going to have to go through in order to carry a child successfully through 9 months of heat or winter weather or whatever it is, to go through all that. And, all the varicose veins and the hemorrhoids and the morning sickness and all that, only to decide in the 9th month, I went through all that, but I don't think I want this kid anymore. Nobody does that. Well,
and again, that was Trump lying last night.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think in this case with the Supreme Court, I think they did the right thing, not only to preserve abortion in Idaho, and so far as I know, it's only in Idaho that this is applicable. But the fact that they're also throwing their support behind allowing the abortion drug, the abortion pill mifepristone, to remain accessible, I think is a good thing.
Well, how can you legislate against that? That's my, how can states legislate against medication?
These are medical issues, and there are some medical doctors in Congress, both at the state level and at the federal level, but not enough to come up with any kind of ruling that should override a person's private doctor. You have to write these laws broadly enough to cover everybody. But unfortunately, it's not going to cover every contingency. Every pregnancy is different. Every woman is different. The problems are going to be different. You cannot legislate a blanket ban because there are going to be details that you're not taking into account.
Yeah, we have 3 more news stories, but I'm not going to get into them. But I would like to ask you a question, that is that getting into healthcare. Do you believe that it is a moral and ethical issue for the government to provide health care for its citizenry, as other countries are doing?
Well, I kind of sort of, I didn't intentionally trash the Apostle Paul. But what we've got going on in today's Christian world is mostly Pauline rather than that of Jesus. However, Paul did have some good points, and one of the things that he talked about was how we need to take care of widows, orphans, the poor. So when it comes to our government supplying healthcare to people, I don't find that any different than giving somebody food stamps when they're down and out and they don't, can't afford to feed themselves. It's part of what we should be doing as a country. If you want to call this a Christian nation, call it a Christian nation, but live by the Christian principles. If you're not going to do that, then drop this whole idea that the United States is a Christian nation. And we are supposed to take care of one another. Jesus said that we need to love one another.
I just turned 65. And
that explains a lot.
What now?
That explains a lot.
Oh, please. You think you're funny, huh?
I am. I'm hilarious.
Okay. But it's amazing to me that being on a Medicare supplement plan, parts A and B, is that today going to the drugstore, I paid a whole $4 for medication that in the past cost me a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So what would happen, again, I pay $172.50 a month, that's how much you pay for Medicare.
All right.
So why don't we have Medicare for all? It would be simple to do it, and also cost effective.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you would have the government saying, okay, you can't charge what, $400 for a vial of
insulin.
Insulin, right? You can't charge that. And when the patent on it was not existent, so that everyone could have it available to them. So for me, it boggles the mind that, again, that, when you get on Medicare, that now there are some doctors and some procedures. I get that they'll balk at, but I'm telling you, it's been pretty good as far as with, my medical care goes. So that's why I'm saying, I think this is another issue that we need to decide in this country and say, listen, for the sake of our constituents here who are getting raked over the barrel because of high medical costs that are not covered by their insurance, even if they were insured. Last night, did you hear about the comments from Trump on the ACA?
I tuned out briefly during part of that, so I might have missed that.
Yeah, he didn't say very much.
Well, then I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, it's
But it's interesting that in this country, though, it makes sense to go to a centralized single payer health insurance plan. It works in Europe. It could work here. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I've seen them before. It's very cost effective, but because we're paying for other people, you've got people balking at it because it's socialism. But that's what health insurance is anyway.
yes.
Everybody's money is being pooled together.
Mm-hmm.
So, like it or not, when you send in that insurance premium, that $100 a month or $200 or however much it is, some of that is going to go to pay for, old Uncle Henry's heart transplant. You may not agree with, that, but it is what it is. It's going to go to pay something else for somebody else. It's socialistic all the way around. But yet they don't seem to have a problem with accepting those Social Security checks, which is also a socialist program.
Isn't that interesting? And especially in the red states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're not going to believe this, Jeff.
I know we're out of time. I've been watching the clock.
You watch the time
too? My first rodeo,
Reverend Jeff Radcliff is an experienced broadcaster. Please do not attempt what he does at home.
It does take practice.
It does take practice, and you need to go to specialized broadcast schools to do what Jeff does. But you know what? But quickly, I really think you need to write up your Bible study.
I'll give it a thought.
Jeff Radcliffe's Bible study that he just shared with you this evening. And you can look in your own Bible for it. Here goes. She says, "Thank you, gentlemen." Yeah. So you're just saying that to him, not me.
Right. But she loves me. She loves me. But we've talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of weird things. It behooves us to remember one thing and one thing only, and I kind of touched about it earlier. God is all there is. We live, move, and have our being in the oneness that is spirit, and it expresses in, through, and as us. So everything that we see, like it or not, is an expression of the divine. Some of us express in the positive, some of us express in the negative. That's all part of the diversity of having 8 billion human souls on the planet, as well as having a quadrillion different animal species, plant species, different minerals and things of that nature. It's all part of God, no matter what it looks like. It's up to us to see.
And
that.
With those comments, thank you, sir. Like always good to hear your commentary. And plus also we get one more viewer, that Diana Mangus, she likes watching you on the New Thought Media Network. Now, me though, if it was just me saying the news, then, she watches Jeopardy or something.
What can I say? All
right. Thank you, Jeff, so very much for joining us. All right. Time for us to go. Again, please, if you have not considered giving here to the New Thought Media Network, please do so. ntmedia.org/donate. We are the only place that you hear commentary like this. We are the only place, again, that does make sense of not only the news, but also the world, and also offers a way that we all can work together to be able to make this a world that works for all. So again, ntmedia.org/donate. Consider being a monthly donor, no matter how large or small the gift, we appreciate it. And it really does go to helping us, again, take this powerful message to the world. ntmedia.org/donate. All right. On behalf of all of us here at the New Thought Me. Oh, one more thing from Diana Mangus. She says that you're not talking about COVID now. I did have a COVID story, but I didn't do it. But COVID is back in the news, but I did not do it this evening because there was more other interesting things in the news. On behalf of all of us here at the New Thought Media Network, I am Reverend Michael Mangus. I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night, and you have a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.